some tricks ahead, I'm sure, to try to get the ball out of his hands.
Our officials, Brian O'Connell, Ron Gruber, Clarence Armstrong. New Mexico in some new red alternate uniforms. St. John's in their home white. It's the Lobos who win the tip. It's their first appearance in this building in 34 years.
A good crew of officials on the floor to handle this one, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
And an entry to Nelly Jr. Joseph, who finishes.
And one of the things about him, he gives him a real good post presence. I'm sure they'll give the touches to him early on to establish that. And then we'll see what Dent does in the open floor with handling the basketball.
Nelly with an embrace with his former head coach, Rick Pitino, pregame. Coming to New Mexico from Iona. Has been coached by both these men.
They're pretty aggressive out front with New Mexico, really finding the perimeter quickly.
A dish to Davon Smith, who's off on his first attempt, and an offensive rebound for Richmond. Richmond, just 5 combined points his last 2 games. He starts strong here.
One of the things he does so well is he drives to the basket, uses his body. When you think of him 6'6" or so, 205, he looks like he's even stronger. A couple of more pounds of muscle than that.
Rick Pitino told us pregame, I don't have to worry about a Brooklyn native in this building under the bright lights. All the way to the rim. Drew Washington.
A little cross-court pass just then, and he's a challenger. He will take it on the floor, go after you, and make things happen. Washington will. Really interested to see how St. John's gets off in the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game and see if they can find the chemistry, because New Mexico will throw some defense at you.
R.J. Lewis to the rim. He's led the Red Storm in scoring 2 of their first 3 games.
Yeah, coming off 13 against Wagner, but you're right in terms of 12-plus points in every game so far, only 3 into the season. And interesting, the two to keep it. A look at Rick Pitino on the sidelines in a suit. They're playing, working as if he's in a sweatsuit.
That one off the heel, tapped down to the Red Storm. His son will not go full suit. He said those days are over. I don't work for my dad anymore. Quarter zip versus full New York Sunday suits. 3 is short, and it goes to the Lobos, who last week, Jim, got a big win over UCLA on a neutral floor.
Yeah, and that's a good one, too, because UCLA will get better and better as the season goes on.
Washington foul. It's on Richmond as we look at Rick Pitino, 857 games won, and he's got a wide coaching tree. There's no doubt about that. He said he tried to tell his kids, I don't want you to get into coaching. He said all of them listened to me except for Richard.
The outlier. he's doing pretty well for himself, too.
Here's the head man at New Mexico. And you see the difference in outfits. They're very different, too, in styles. Richard said, look, I'm going to do things my way. I call my dad. We talk about life. We talk about Yankees baseball. They went to a World Series game together. But he said, in terms of what I do, I'm listening to my staff every single day. And he's put his stamp on this program that made the tournament last year, won the Mountain West tournament.
But he's also probably taken some advice from his father over the years also. But he's developed into a terrific coach. A lot of different experiences for him. Interesting guy to talk to, too, because he understands exactly what he wants to try to do. That entry pass just not going to happen from that distance away.
This is Drew Washington, a sophomore from Phoenix. Loved his progression. Junior Joseph lost it.
Reached out.
Richmond trying to get the friendly bounce, playing some Plinko. Offensive rebound for the Red Storm. Smith got it.
Real good look underneath, too, working that glass. Before underneath on the left side was collapsed on with 2 or 3 players. Here's the catch and go.
And Nelly Jr. Joseph is fouled right away by Smith.
Yeah, he fell away from the basket a touch that time because he lost his balance, but overall he'll catch it and throw those shoulders right at the rim.
Mountain West Player of the Week last week, the Nigeria native. He talked about getting coached. Can you imagine this, Jim? You've been coached by Rick Pitino at Iona, and now his son and they've gotten to watch this kid's development through the years.
Exactly, and he's coming on. He obviously can rebound and score. And you think about it, that you mentioned that UCLA game, he had 16 points and 12 rebounds in that game.
Rebound to Lewis. 28 points against Nichols in the opener for the Lobos.
And Nolan on the floor, too, for the Lobos right now. Hard-nosed guy coming off the bench. Energy makes things happen. 13 against UCLA in that game. There's Lewis trying to get on track a little bit, too, John.
Shot clock down to 5. A kick, skip pass to the corner. 3 long, and the Lobos get another stop.
Real good look, too, by Lewis out front just then to Scott in the corner. He's only 3 for 10 from the three-point range this year.
North Texas transfer. That was the key for both coaches. Can we make enough complementary shots around our point guard play and big men play?
And here's Dent. Doesn't turn it over. Wow, that's a nice
dish.
Was it ever?
Richmond stood up. And LA Junior Joseph, though. Lewis traveled. We've got our first timeout in this family reunion showdown. Even at 6 between the Johnnies and Lobos in Manhattan.
That guy right there is a legend.
By the way, the center court decal also brings these two coaches, father and son, together. Hoops for Heroes today. Proceeds to this game, ticket sales, are going to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, which is really near and dear to the Patino's hearts, benefiting 9/11 victims and their families. So a big crowd on hand here for a really powerful cause. For Rick Pitino lost his brother-in-law in 9/11.
Yes, he did. Yep. We got Tunnels to Towers is doing a terrific job in terms of helping a lot of people. They got Dent off the ball with Nolan in.
Nolan attacking. Here's Washington with 9. To Washington with a spin and a kick to Donovan Dent. Just short.
Like that 3-guard lineup, really, they have 3 guys who can put the ball on the floor and make things happen. Going to contain Richmond, make sure he doesn't get into the paint.
Simeon Wilcher has checked in for St. John's. As Richmond turns it over, numbers for the Lobos. They play the fastest tempo in college basketball. I'm sealed, that'll count.
Yeah, we finally get a look at their tempo going up and down the floor just then because of the turnover by Richmond. And they took advantage of that in a hurry. They had a 4-on-2 that developed almost into a 4-on-1 break. Not a whole lot you can do. There's the ball off the glass and it's swiped off. And obviously by rule, that's goaltending. Hitting the glass first.
Mustafa Amsil with the bucket. He's in his 5th year of college hoops. Transferred from Dayton to the Lobos.
Pretty good effective defense so far by the Lobos. They have really clamped down.
Richmond, that foul is on the floor.
See what Richmond tries to do. He tries to get that body going towards the paint area. Former Seton Hall player who did that quite often for the Pirates.
Triple-double last year across the river at Seton Hall. Big East first team selection. As New Mexico brings in Braden Applehans, the redshirt sophomore. Smith back in for the Red Storm. There's Wilcher from the baseline. How about his development?
Well, one of the better players for St. John's throughout this summer, and there he catches one in rhythm. And shooters love to get that ball in rhythm, plant that inside left foot if you're a right-handed shooter with that good elevation to finish it.
We asked Rick Pitino who's the most consistent guy day in and day out.
Yep.
Wilcher was the first name out of his mouth. Shot clock at 8. That's picked off by Ejiofor.
Little break opportunity here for St. John's. That's going to be a kick.
Smart play by Amsil.
That was shaping up at a corner jumper, wasn't it? Wilcher.
That it was. St. John's will go to Ruben Prey, the freshman, a late add over the offseason from Portugal. He gets some run here. Smith looking for Richmond. This is the other thing that Kadary Richmond can do.
Yep, post up.
That's New York City basketball.
Yeah, and that's where he can be dangerous if you're trying to guard him, because he's quick enough to use that speed to get there and the strength. And at 6'6", he can jump over people. Nice combination.
Dent with a spin. A delivery picked off by Richmond.
Well, you don't see many turnovers from Dent.
Didn't have one the last game. Dish downstairs to Prey from Lewis.
Prey running the floor up and down, 6'10", getting a quick start. Nice to get a young guy to get one to go, especially inside like that.
Back-to-back possessions with turnovers for the Lobos. Amsil.
Pretty good reaction. We've been speaking about New Mexico's perimeter defense. Pretty good also for St. John's.
Amsil with a really tough shot, and it goes. Mustafa Amsil in his 5th year of college basketball. And that for New Mexico, Jim, is what Richard Pitino told us was the key. Can we take quality threes and make them when we get them?
Yeah, especially from guys that aren't the guards.
Lewis out of control. It will stay with St. John's.
Here he comes down the lane. Nice setup there, too. Just with Prey just waiting it out. Got to a good spot. Here's that long range, fairly well contested shot also. Amsil, good pick and pop player.
Came into this one just 22% from 3, 4 for 18. And a big one there. Right off the inbounds. That 3 does not go for Aaron Scott.
Second time they've run that set. Second time they've gotten a very good look. 1 for 2 on that play.
Here's Dent.
Nice walk.
That's a dime. Good ball movement and gets it back. Appelhans.
That's what he does. He shoots the ball from 3.
Got an open look.
Yeah, he did. Good look for him. All 3 of his made shots this year from 3. The percentages are staggering in terms of what he does during the scouting report.
Here is Smith, the Utah transfer with the left hand.
Well, what you do there, John, when you're going to the basket and you have somebody on your hip, you want to make sure you're gliding your body towards the body action. And that, at the very end, will free you up for a little bit of room to finish that shot off.
Maneuverability. Dent with 10.
We have a lot of that here sitting here courtside.
It's an incident at this booth. Here comes Smith. Jim, you give him space, and he finds Prey. And who is fouled? A look at what that cost.
Yeah, you call right on the button there in terms of what's going on with him outside, pushing the ball and getting up and down the floor. And here we go with a quick look to the basket. Notice how.
And I found out this morning that I am sitting next to someone who Rick Pitino recruited.
He did. And the trivia question is, what school was he at?
Give the audience a chance to think about it for just a moment.
Digest that for a second. And then for those of you who are thinking BU or Providence or maybe Hawaii was the answer. You know Rick a long time. But his team has to get on track, shooting the ball 0 for 5 from the three-point line, 7 of 10 in the twos, and 5 of those 7 shots have been in the paint.
Here comes C.J. Noland, and he's fouled by Prey.
There's that quick extra effort going to the basket.
I'll send Nolan to the line. Transfer from North Texas, former teammate of Aaron Scott of the Johnnies. And his 3rd college stop, but had a 13-point showing with 3 steals against UCLA. They love what he brings on both ends.
Yeah, and interesting enough with him in the last, and it's an overlap of seasons, in the past 20 games he's played in, he was held under 10 points the last time out. It's only the 3rd time he's been held under that number. So pretty good score, pretty good activity.
Wasn't it interesting hearing Rick Pitino talk about his son Richard's team pregame? He said, I like their makeup more this year. Why is that?
Well, I think they have the experience of Dent, who can put a dent in everything, no pun intended, right? And then he's got the good balance. He's got some bigs that are a little bit bigger this year than they were last year. And Richard did a fine job with them last year with his team making it to the NCAAs and having to compete against Clemson. He was on a roll.
Watch out. A steal by Sacco.
Got to pick that one up. Nope,
And
too
it's
late.
taken right back by Aaron Scott.
Could see him just trying to slap at it a couple of times, and 3 Johnnies are right around him.
Sloppiness here. 5th St. John's giveaway.
They're always thinking of challenging. Wow, he got bumped on that one.
And both sides, the officials are letting them play. That's the 5th turnover by New Mexico. 5 aside.
A lot of movement without the basketball at both sides. Rick Pitino likes to run this motion, keeping everybody busy.
Sim Wilcher, that's why he was a 4-star prospect out of high school. He's heading towards North Carolina. And asked out and ended up in the hands of Rick Pitino. Down here in a hook shot that's short. Noland. Can't catch it either into the hands of Simeon Wilcher.
Tiki is really active, isn't he, on the offensive glass? Good look.
Yes, he is. Into Ejiofor's foul.
Tiki just missed that defensively also. He was out in the front of the court, almost by the 3-point line when that lob came in, and his reaction, he had 5 blocks his last game out.
Plenty active is only Atiki, but he has 2 fouls now after that one. And so Richard Pitino is going to go back to Nelly Jr. Joseph as Ejiofor steps the line. And this is interesting, Jim, because around the New York papers, he was phenomenal against Rutgers in a preseason exhibition. That created a lot of, okay, is this going to be a huge year for him? But just single digits apiece in his first 3 games. You asked Rick Pitino about it pregame. What did he tell you?
Well, the one thing, you know, when you look at this, John, from the standpoint of the team, it's development, getting comfortable on the floor. And I think that he's one of the guys that if it comes his way, they look for him to post him up. That's the job of the other guys, to make things easier for your bigs on the blocks.
Rick said, look, there's a narrative out there that I'm disappointed with Zuby. He goes, I want to put that to bed. I like the way he's working. We just have to see some results.
Yeah. There we go with a little full court action. Nice pass. Just a simple pass.
Nolan got midair. Kick out for the 3. New Mexico just 1 of 5 from downtown. Wilcher to Richmond. Richmond got stripped. Brady Dunlap cleans it up.
Just a good spot on the floor because Dunlap is hustling down the floor. I think they got to really look at Richmond and try to stop him from getting into the paint. Force him to shoot it.
Drew Washington, an unfriendly bounce.
He was anticipating more of a challenge at the rim just then. Went to his inside left hand.
Wilcher took some contact, and the Lobos come down with it.
Nice look.
Wide open look for Amsil. He is way off.
Wow, was that ever way off?
Goodness. That's what New York football fans become accustomed to seeing on Sundays at MetLife from their kickers. Ejiofor travels.
Amsil came in only 4 of 18, John, from the 3-point strike this season early on with the 3 games. He was made 1 and missed 1 wide right.
Well, what's interesting about it is Borovicinin checks in. Filip Borovicinin, the junior from Serbia, because we talked to Richard Pitino about the tempo of the game, which right now it's frenetic. He said we can't get so hurried that we're out of control.
Yeah, pace is key if you are under control and making good things happen. Nice block
by Ejiofor, who stuffed Amsil.
Amsil floating a little to his left that trip.
Lewis is out of control. Tapped down to the Johnnies. Here's Richmond.
See that little hitch in his jumper there?
Ejiofor is a grown man. Timeout, New Mexico. Listen to the Garden.
in just a touch over 3 minutes.
A 9-point Red Storm lead off an 8-0 run. It's a New Mexico program that's built of standard. Over the last 3 seasons, they're 28-1 in non-conference regular season games. So this time of year, they've had a lot of success.
They sure have. Getting that win also against UCLA will be a nice one for them as the season progresses. They keep developing.
Off the fake from the elbow. Vorvichinen gave it up, and now Richmond so active hands. 6th turnover by the Lobos. R.J. Lewis gives St. John's their first triple.
That was a good example of the motion that Rick Pitino likes to run. Keep guys moving. Sooner or later, he believes they'll get a free jumper from the side. Woo, pretty.
That is Donovan Dent at his best.
Boy, shot blocker thought that was going to be a little left-handed jump hook going through the lane. There's the kick out.
Back-to-back triples for the Johnnies. It's Aaron Scott.
Smart play, too, because I believe it was Lewis who was double-teamed over there on the left side. Made a nice judgment not to force the action.
14-2 Red Storm run as Nelly Jr. Joseph is fouled.
Did you notice Joseph going to the basket then? Like almost hesitated into his jump and never got underneath himself for that. Here's that double team kick out and back-to-back threes.
First 3 years of his college career at Iona. And then enters the portal, and Rick Pitino says, go play for my son. All he's played for in college is Pitino's, and he was asked earlier this week, all right, so tell us, Nelly, who's the better coach? He said, you're really going to set me up like that? He said Richard's funnier.
There you go. It's a way to dodge the question.
Yeah.
We're going to dodge St. John's right now because St. John's is really playing and touching the ball, keeping it active. Good help there with the jump out.
Nicely done by True Washington. But Richmond comes back with a hand.
Yeah, good reaction. You give it up, but don't quit on the play. Get down the other side. That was a terrific hedge to allow Washington the opportunity from behind to get a strip.
What adjustment would you make if you're in New Mexico?
The thing, you just need to get a three to go down, but I think I'd challenge him here to go off the dribble and make stuff happen as much as possible, because what's going to happen with Dent's ability, if he keeps taking it to the basket as the other guards would, you're going to get freed up jumpers, and so you have to hope your guys are going to knock a few down.
25 points, 10 assists, no turnovers in the win earlier this week against A&M Corpus Christi. First performance of that in Lobos history. That sort. Nelly Jr. Joseph puts it back.
Yeah, that was a good move by Washington just to get that shot up on the rim. Very difficult one to make when it's contested, but at least it gives your secondary chance an offensive player to get that offensive glass.
Davon Smith ejected. Nelly Jr. Joseph sent that back.
You almost forget that he's 6'10" and can really move quick with the footwork. Watch him recover right here. He's a little bit of trouble, then he separates, still able to block that shot.
On the inbounds, Lewis and one.
Well, Rick Pitino has shown us a couple of times already that he's getting some mileage out of his out-of-bounds plays underneath his own basket. We've seen two go to the corner. And sometimes you need a little help and a prayer to get that one to go for Lewis. That's Finch.
With a flex.
I do it all the time.
Can't convert the three-point play. That's over the back on Ejiofor.
Never had any good position there. You got to let that one go.
Rick Pitino on Ejiofor for that one, because he said it to us earlier today. He said, this time of year, little things get magnified when you don't have everything in place.
Right.
Dent
Watch, go into the basket, turn it around, let him handle the ball, make the decisions. He's very good at it. As aggressively as this game has been played, this will be the jinx right here. Not many fouls called. As aggressively as they're playing, officials let them play, but they're playing hard but not fouling.
Lewis is short.
But they're dominating on the offensive glass to Richard Pitino's last huddle.
That was pretty from Smith, but he couldn't finish it. To your point, St. John's is up 20-9 on the glass. Washington gliding, tapped out.
Good work by Joseph.
Amsiel, that's his shot, but he's short this time.
Look up.
Smith stops on a dime.
Oh, smart. Nice, first of all, it was a terrific pass from the backcourt. You look up, get some action, pushing it down the floor. And a little pull-up mid-range jumper. It's still part of this game.
Dent again, and that time Aaron Scott said, no can do. Here comes Smith again. Jim, they just come at you in waves.
They sure do. That's what New Mexico does, too, with their pace. But St. John's looking like the chemistry is coming together. I know it's still early in this season, only the 4th game, but they're a team that could pull this thing together pretty quickly.
20-6 run.
Now you got to maintain it too, obviously.
Dent with the dish downstairs. Finish. And LA Junior Joseph.
Well, you can see why guys on the Lobos just continually move when Dent has the ball. He can really spot you up and make life easy. St. John's cooking in the first half here.
St. John's 15th in KenPom defensive efficiency. They've won their first 3 games by 21-plus points, each of them. First time the program's done that since 1948.
Yeah, one of the things that we spoke to Rick Pitino beforehand, said that he probably would not look at too much zone, and here comes one at the just under 4-minute mark.
He had that up his sleeve. He told you no zone.
I asked that question too. Whoa.
Fake out.
Well, it's good though. I mean, it's just a throw and adjustment at New Mexico. They're having problems shooting the basketball.
1 of 7 are the Lobos from deep.
Keep in mind at the other end, though, if he comes back with that zone, New Mexico has a couple of guys, especially Dent, who can dribble by the zone.
Smith with 8. Scott off the catch, and he's short.
New Mexico has to figure out a way to get this thing down to about 8 points at the half if they can.
Here's Nolan to Amsiel, who was doubled right away.
Ejiofor coming across. And because of his size at 6'9", long arms, he was able to deflect that because Amsiel was looking in the right spot to get it down on the right blocks. It's a matchup right now.
Borovincic, and he throws it away. 7th, New Mexico turnover. So father and son, Rick and Richard Pitino. Last night, the family got together. Went to a restaurant in Midtown. Dad picking up the tab. Cousins, siblings, a family reunion. But it's a house divided. Rick's wife, Joanne, seated behind her son because she said, he's my blood. Rick goes, shows you where I'm at in my marriage. Ejiofor with a slam.
You didn't get invited to that dinner last night, did you?
Largest lead for the Johnnies.
Well, they just, New Mexico just cannot get untracked offensively.
And another turnover. Nearly, it'll stay with the Lobos. Just went off the hands of Smith.
And here's that look, nice little curl pass down low and an easy finish. You got to bring yourself away from the defender on that to get it around him on the bounce pass. And Rick Pitino just loves the bounce pass when he gets that in there. And occasionally you'll see the lobs, but he likes his guys two-handed passes, nothing fancy.
Amsiel from downtown.
There you go. Good to see him hit that shot because he put one up about 4 minutes ago that was wide right and just off hit the glass. Didn't even hit the rim.
2 threes apiece now. Amsiel and Lewis coming towards us. So let's stay with the Johnnies.
Just a quick release. Not a pick and pop, but just a pop, just then a step away.
Smith saw the double. Ejiofor has got an open man. Wilcher kicks back to Lewis. Lewis in and out. Rebound by Smith. Davon Smith, count it.
May have gotten hurt on this too. He's holding his thigh. Might have taken a knee or a hit to the thigh because he was grabbing it. But how about him getting into the fray there and trying to make things happen? Good looking shot. I thought this was down. And then he gets up there and just forces his way up. And he's got a little limp in that walk, doesn't he?
He does.
Friendly roll.
One of the triple-double kings of college hoops last year while at Utah. He just did a little bit of everything. And the other side of this right now, Jim, is what Richard Pitino said in his huddle as Washington sits down with 2 fouls. Rebounds are at 9-3 on the offensive glass for the Johnnies, 24-11 for St. John's overall. That's
an amazing number. Not going to win many games with that percentage. Another carry. Yep. Come on.
Another dribble.
Yeah, you're talking about Smith also at the other side. Richard Pitino just showing some frustration there. Yep, can't do that. And Smith was 6th nationally in assists last year, so what a find for Rick Pitino as a setup guy. Here's some of this action. Just
here he comes. 5 triple doubles last year. He was tied for the national lead, and he shows his speed this time.
You ever notice how they get good coaches get their players in good spots on the floor? They run in the weave, and he ends up getting a right-handed player going towards the right.
Elway Jr. Joseph fouled by Lewis. It was the last St. John's foul to give of this first half. Smith has scored 8 in the last 10 for the Red Storm.
Convincingly, too. Under control. Good decisions. Not hunting shots. Watch out. Oh, I thought that was going to get clipped.
Amsiel caught it. Dent off the fake, and he's fouled.
And if they're not shooting the ball well, they have to get to the free throw line and make it happen there.
This is the next piece of Dent's game. He can do so much. The 29 assists through the first 3 games of the season, but just a 64% free throw shooter. It's getting that perimeter shot to the next level.
Thank you. And it doesn't look important right this minute, but in the last 3 minutes of tight games, that's where it really comes into play when he's handling the ball so much.
Dunlap checks in. New Mexico now 4 for 9 from the line. This man at the stripe had 3 game-winning shots last year for the Lobos. So dynamic. And led them against UCLA. 15-point game, though, as we hit the final minute of an opening stanza that's belonged to Rick Pitino's team.
Yeah, and I think Rick Pitino putting Dunlap in right now might be trying to steal a 3-point shot by Dunlap.
With 10, Richmond trying to knife through 2 defenders, and he gave it away.
You gotta look up, you got some numbers.
Dotson can't hit. Offensive rebound. Nelly Jr. Joseph sticks it back.
Yeah, but the effort really good by St. John's. Prey getting back defensively quickly. That could have been like an easy, just 2-on-1 break. Joseph doesn't realize he's running down the middle of the floor.
The victory over Arizona, and hey, does that name look familiar? Sure. Carmelo's son, Kiyan Heading, following dad to Syracuse.
Could score a little, I hear, huh?
What's your thought process with the Red Storm here?
Well, I think, you have this possession. You want to make sure you don't turn it over. I mean, it's just get a good look, hit the offensive glass. And I'd look for Dunlop again if they leave him alone.
Richmond, about a 6-second difference between shot and gain. Kadary Richmond got to the middle of the lane. 7 on the shot clock here. Lewis with a top spin move. Can't connect. Battle for it. The Lobos with 8 seconds here. A shot to take some momentum into the half. Nolan got it to go.
Nice break. That's that tempo they want to play at.
New Mexico does take some momentum into the locker room. They cut it down to 11.
Not bad, too, with the way this was going the last 2.5 minutes of the last 3. I thought they played pretty well, made good.
Pitino. Rick said, I never thought that in a million years that it could come to disowning a son. He goes, but it may come to that if I lose.
40 minutes, huh?
He's up by 11. New Mexico did enter the break with a little bit of momentum.
A couple of buckets helped them, from a mental perspective, but they're going to start with a good 2 or 3 minutes of defensive basketball and make it pay off at the offensive end.
Lewis, and the tip back is good.
And one of the things the Lobos have not done well is find the secondary players after drives to the basket to keep them off the glass.
Amsio, he's starting to pick up traction with a couple of threes in the first half.
And St. John's had 10 offensive rebounds in that first half.
Nolan just weaving his way.
Yeah, just barely kept the left foot on the floor just then, too. Good effort by Nolan. He's their super sub, so he's to get it going here starting the second half. Whoa.
Ejiofor hung on to the ball to Richmond. Kadary Richmond, it's like time stops when he leaps up into the air.
Yeah, and he just holds himself. And a lot of guys lose strength when they leave the floor like that, but he maintains his composure and strength to finish buckets off.
You said it. Borovichinen for New Mexico on the bench. Nolan really was the most consistent for New Mexico in the opening half. He starts the second here with the basketball now. A veteran and an energy piece answering the bell.
Good lift coming off the bench early on here.
A senior who transferred in from North Texas.
Let's see if it's contagious.
Ejiofor kicking. Richmond with a delivery to Lewis.
One of the things about Richmond, can pass the basketball. Him and Smith averaging about 6 assists per game.
An entry to Nelly Jr. Joseph. Amsio around the horn for the Lobos. That can change the game.
It sure can in a hurry, because it's going to force St. John's to drag 1 or 2 players out to the perimeter and watch for the guards to go to work for New Mexico.
Ejiofor. They have let a lot go, but that was just a little too much contact and the foul on Junior Joseph.
We'll take a look at Richmond. Nice delivery. Right by Ejiofor just then. And work it in, and one thing they've been able to do is kick it out from underneath the basket to get double teams. Good recognition by New Mexico, that time getting a 3.
That's what Richard Pitino told us. He said Mustafa Amsio's got makes from downtown in him. 4 for 18 coming into this game, but he's 3 for 5 today. Richmond lost the basketball.
Yeah, he just lost his balance just then, and his steps going to the middle of the floor. And this is an area where New Mexico has to take advantage of some of these breaks that they're getting. The turnover, let's see if they can come down and get a good set.
Ryan O'Connell with the whistle.
A little holding in the middle of the floor, possibly.
It's on Aaron Scott. That's his second. Ryan O'Connell, Ron Groover, Clarence Armstrong, our officials this afternoon. This was once a 16-point St. John's lead with just over a minute left in the first half. And they've trimmed it to 9, a chance to get to within 7 or 6. Short for Washington.
Not with the guard back there. That guard's going to outrun that bounce every single time.
Dent to Nolan.
Give it back to Dent, see what he can do with it.
So dangerous. Nelly, Junior Joseph, timeout, Rick Pitino. Here come the Lobos in Manhattan.
And Nolan didn't get the score just then, but Nolan got that first pass to trigger it over to Dent to make something happen in the middle of the floor.
To sit behind her son this afternoon. He said, he's my blood. Makes for a pretty interesting Sunday dinner at the Pitino household. It bears noting the rest of the Pitino children are behind Dad.
There you go. Whoa, nice close.
Ejiofor with a second effort got fouled.
Good position by Ejiofor to start that series off in the middle of the lane. If you're a big guy, you want to slice to the middle and make sure your hands are ready for a catch.
Favorite thing about Friday, the coaches to the Zoom media availability with media from New York, from Albuquerque, New Mexico gets a lot of coverage. And Richard was asked, so what are the things that you did as a staff member with Rick that you now do with your staff members? He said, nothing. Nothing is exactly the same. There were 4 a.m. wake-up calls. It was around the clock. It was absurd. He goes, I need my assistants to be able to breathe and live every single day. Not joking, but also saying, I said goodbye to that life.
Yeah, you can't be 24 hours, 7 days. No, it's just, it's hard to do.
You asked Rick pregame, you still kicking it to the same level. And he is. Richmond to Lewis.
That's goaltending if it didn't go. Yeah, Rick just still impresses me with how long he's been doing it in terms of the enthusiasm he brings to it. Loves to coach the kids, get them better fundamentally. And here's a nice 2-on-1. And Mexico has to regroup again. Back to that 11-point halftime lead for St. John's.
Out of that timeout, 4 straight for the Red Storm. On seal. And they'll stay with the Lobos. What is it about Rick Pitino that impresses you the most over the course of his career?
I just think it's his consistency and his effort. I mean, I remember seeing him at one of his, did a Louisville game once, and we went to one of his practices. The way he had like almost laryngitis, but they wired him up with like a speaker system so he could still coach his team. And it was just the enthusiasm, and it's just remarkable how long he's been doing it.
5 on the shot clock. They brought a double to Dent. He sees it all. Sacco with the finish.
And you're not supposed to be making that pass that easily with Dent.
Smith cannot answer. Lobos get a stop.
And this is why he's good. Look at the way his head is pointing up the floor, looking at everything going on.
Nolan with the right hand. And it all starts with their lead guard down.
Yeah, Nolan has given them a big lift here in the beginning of this second half.
Richmond is fouled by Nolan. We've got a timeout.
Yeah, trying to make a little bit of a run. Quick slip cut pass to the middle of the floor. 12 offensive rebounds, too, so it's making it tough for New Mexico to get back into it.
I know it's small, Jim, but it played a big role in this game. Baseline out of bounds sets.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Here's one right here. Oh, snuffed out, though. Good call on your part.
Nolan was ready for Richmond.
Johnny, you know, they averaged 14 rebounds, offensive rebounds a game last year, so that's why that number is not a surprising number that I just touched on.
And now a foul on Nelly Junior Joseph. That's his second.
Yeah, you want to stay away from those over-the-top type ones where you know you can't get there with the big body catching it.
This Red Storm team ranked number 22 in the latest AP Top 25. First time they're ranked in 5 years. It's the earliest in a season they've been ranked in 24 years. Amazing. Since 2000. As Richmond is fouled.
That might be team number 5 for New Mexico right now.
It is. 5
fouls, 4.5 minutes. Well, that's not how you want to set things up for a comeback.
St. John's is only 4 of 8 from the line, but you're right. A lot of time on that clock. They only have 1 more left to give.
Yeah, and just too many opportunities they'll have.
Lewis all the way.
And see, that's part of it right there. If you're driving somebody, you're almost in the back of your mind saying, I don't want to reach, I don't want to pick up an extra quick foul there.
Dan surveying. Nolan lost it. They've got numbers. Aaron Scott brings the house down.
Good collapse defensively just then. Sealing, being aware of what's happening off the dribble. Good double team to make it happen. Those numbers, big numbers off the points off turnovers.
Dent off. Here comes Davon Smith. Edge of 4.
Gave it to him. Yeah, gave it to him too far out on the floor for the big to do something with it. See if Dent starts to score a little bit. Too bad. Tough shots.
Nelly Jr. Joseph on the cleanup, back to single digits.
Yeah, sometimes when you see Dent put that shot up, I think he recognizes that his teammates are in pretty good position on the offensive glass, so his job there is to just get it up there and hope it goes in, but if it doesn't, get one of the bigs to finish it off. Watch out.
Air ball. Scott. Back to the Lobos.
Here we go. Up that ladder.
Well, that's a showcase, Jim, of one of the strengths of this team. Scott at 6'7". St. John's is filled with that 6'6" to 6'8" type of player.
And that's what Rick Pitino was speaking about before the game, the ability of those guys to switch, just like we saw right here. Occasional switches.
Appleheim has entered for the Lobos.
Yep, he's a three-point shooter, so you have to stay with him.
Nolan has been a driving force in this comeback attempt, and Lewis shows his length.
6 on the shot clock, and that was just flat out snuffed. This was with 2 hands, both up over his shoulders.
You said it, 6 on the shot clock, now down to 4. Nelly Jr. Joseph with 3, tough shot. Rebound by Appleheim. That's a big one to Nolan, and they cash in.
And St. John's had 3 white shirts within reaching distance of that ball, and nobody moved. And Rick Pitino, he's letting Wiltshire know about it on the side because he was one of them.
Game on in Manhattan. And the Lobo fans who are here making some noise.
They're showing their toughness. I have to give them credit. Yeah, they had a couple of opportunities in that first half to kind of almost fold up the tent. And nobody really goes for it. And there's just a little handoff pass to get the 3. Now, this is where St. John's has to show who's going to be the leader going forward on this team to make the right decisions.
Rick Pitino told us he's still searching for it. Aaron Scott got an open look from Lewis.
Yeah, good decision by Lewis. Dragging a teammate defensively. Adam setting up his partner on the wing.
Here's Dent. He doubled.
He did. He's so quick with the basketball, it's hard to tell whether he double dribbled then or not from our angle.
It's an 11th New Mexico turnover as Richard Pitino brings in 3 reserves.
So we're okay. It's hard to tell whether he had 2 hands on it at once. It just didn't look smooth. It looked awkward.
About 13,000 here at the Garden on a Sunday. Father versus son, Rick versus Richard Pitino for the 4th time. Richmond.
So that's what you want to force him to do, scouting report-wise.
Edge of 4, monstrous.
The offensive glass has just been really the killer for New Mexico this afternoon. Second chance points are mounting. Just when they make a little bit of a run also.
18 second chance points.
Nice hands.
Tom Seal was stripped. It stays with the Lobos with 11. We've got a timeout.
And St. John's going to work here. Nice look by Lewis for that baseline. So take advantage of that. Push it down the floor. Get an easy bucket or two. Keep your energy level up.
11 on the shot clock out of the timeout here for New Mexico.
You see the energy level of Rick in that huddle that just then too. See the decision that Dent will make now. Usually a good one.
5 on the timer. He was midair. 3 for Amseal, who was unsettled. Offensive rebound, though. Amseal tries again. This long, and Lewis with the board now trying to run. To Richmond. Look out! Richmond with hammer time.
And Lewis is really setting the stage, making it easy for the delivery. Good recognition with the shooter out there with Appelhans.
Dent feeds it. It's a foul on Scott.
Watch the setup. He goes to the middle of the floor. You got options left or right. Wham! And a big time finish. But look where he gives him the basketball. No need for a dribble, just a layup type play. And it's too quick to defend.
As Atiki steps to the line. Converts on the first. So it was October the 29th. Richard Pitino, like the Pitino family, diehard Yankees fans. So Rick, Dad, invites his son out to Game 4 of the World Series, a game that the Yankees won, the lone one that they won. Richard says, okay, I get on the flight, I fly into New York. Rick says, all right, come by the offices, we're here. Richard shows up, St. John's is practicing. Richard goes, all the St. John's players look at me like I'm a complete enemy. Why? Because Rick told him, hey, the head coach of New Mexico's coming. And Richard goes, Rick makes us sound like we're the Boston Celtics. That's how much his players hated me.
Pretty good setup by Rick, though, huh?
That is just old school stuff. They went to Yankee Stadium. Richard said, you know, my dad and I have a couple of pops. I'm tired. I want to sleep in the next morning in New York. Rick's up at 5:30 in the morning and says, let's go. Nolan. Rebound to Ejiofor.
A little help, too, but by Richmond on the right side there, too.
Stays with St. John's. With where we're at in this game, what do the final 10 and change come down to?
Well, you look at St. John's and Rick Pitino in the huddle just then. Keep your energy level up and make good decisions. They've been making relatively good decisions on the offensive end. Tough pass right there. I think that's going to come New Mexico's way, which it does. And, you know, with Richard Pitino and his team, I mean, they're right there if they can get a couple of bounces. There's still plenty of time with this, just under 11 minutes in this game. Keep the ball in Dent's hand, let him make the decisions. That might have been a reach there. Good call. Clarence Armstrong with the call. He's a real good officiating crew here this afternoon.
Ron Groover and Brian O'Connell joining Clarence Armstrong today. 14th foul on the Red Storm. New Mexico has stayed at 5 in the last 5 minutes. That's another foul.
Yeah,
Tom Wilcher.
That's the right call, too. Clarence on it again.
Third foul on Wilcher.
You see the ball. Watch the ball. It just dies. Watch where the ball doesn't go here. And here's a guy, Dent, who makes terrific passes. And that thing.
How about Dent with the drive? He was out of control. Washington with the left hand through Washington.
Little hesitation just then, enough to get it off the second chance point. And Rick Pitino.
Jim, if you're going to command a Mick Cronin-led UCLA team, led by 16 at one point in that win for the Lobos, they were not going to just simply go away here.
No, absolutely not. It'll be interesting to see what Rick Pitino runs right now after this timeout. They had success getting some motion in the first half. They've gotten away a little bit from it.
Richmond attacking again.
Nice close there.
Straight up deep.
Anzio.
Nolan can't get it to go. It just spun off the rim. And the call is for New Mexico.
Rick Pitino down to half court. Irate. Tiki made a nice play just then. He couldn't come up with the ball, but he pushed it against the glass, forcing St. John's to knock it out.
That looked like it went off the Lobos. An air ball. Seal cleans it out with 8. They've got 6, so an extra trip for the Lobos. Some good fortune. Can they cash in? They do! True Washington is true. It's a 6-point game.
Yeah, a Tiki decision that pays off for them. Inside out, you get the release, the double team coming at him. Very quick pass through the perimeter.
Ejiofor like a bowling ball. It's a blocking foul.
He's going to get to the line, too, on that. So watch the quick pass. Catch. Richmond has his back turned, looking at the ball, but he doesn't find the shooter in time. Real good decision on the offensive side.
New Mexico was 2 for 8 from downtown the first half, 4 of 7 in the second, and now Zuby Ejiofor 4 for 4 from the line today. His first miss, he came into this game 3 of 8 on the season, and you said this earlier in the game. Free throw shooting, where the fouls are early in the season. This has been a differentiator. It is, period, especially early in the season, some of these games when teams are still trying to feel it out.
Just getting the rhythm, not getting enough reps at the free throw line. Just don't want to give those points away. You work so hard to get to the line sometimes.
7-point game in a matchup between dad and son. Rick versus Richard. Ejiofor got his hand in. That is a foul.
Yep, that's going to go in the Lobos' favor just then. Smith with a very good effort, but sometimes you're just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. He goes after this ball. Watch when it comes back out. Watch Smith. He goes after it, and then he ends up not being able to get it, and he takes out the legs. Like Washington.
Last foul to get for the Red Storm. We've got free throws the rest of the way. Both teams in the bonus.
And that's when you want to play it in there in the paint.
Nolan, and he's fouled from behind. He was shooting, it'll be 2.
It's interesting. That ball get deflected. It didn't look like it hit the rim or the backboard.
It did not. It was deflected.
Okay. Then it's okay what he did. Let's see if it got deflected. Yep. From behind. So then it's okay. It's an active play.
Nolan on the year, 85% from the free throw line. Started his career at Oklahoma, ended up at North Texas, now at New Mexico. We asked Richard Pitino, what'd you learn when you faced Clemson in the NCAA tournament last year? He said that we need a little bit more toughness, a little bit more of a bulldog mentality and some length.
Yeah, the length was key because Clemson had a pretty big team. Took advantage of that. They had really a great run last year in the NCAA tournament. Extended too. A matchup. Looks like a 1-3-1, but it's a matchup. Nice look.
Lewis was fouled by Nolan.
Pretty good adjustment there on the fly for St. John's. Trying to get the ball to the free throw line or to the baseline against what looked like a 1-3-1 defense.
3 fouls on C.J. Nolan, so back to R.J. Lewis. 24-point showing with 13 rebounds against Quinnipiac, his highlight thus far. And when he was healthy last year, Jim, that's when St. John's was humming.
So important for them to continue to hit these free throws because both teams are going to get plenty of them.
Red Storm team that's 72% as a squad on the season. New Mexico at 67, so you are right. It will play a big role as the lead is back to 8. John Fanta, Jim Spanarkel with you from New York City, MSG. A pivotal early season resume opportunity for both these teams as Ejiofor blocked it. Richmond, though, lost the ball. Dent, gliding. Donovan Dent is a star.
Yeah, he made up for that bad decision on the pull-up jumper the last trip down, but they got that ball back in a hurry. There's just no quit in this New Mexico team.
They're coached by a Patino.
Yep, little shuffle step.
Travel and a 15th St. John's turnover.
So you want to see their tempo. This is how they play. They like to come up the floor, launch a little switch. It's by the first defender with the ball swinging across horizontally and then extends it away from the shot blocker.
Entry to Nelly Jr. Joseph. It's a 4-point game.
Beautiful entry pass and away from that particular side. When you catch it and go, Joseph is a guy. You pass that ball into him, he's going to give you every bit of effort to catch it.
Mom Joanne was clapping, sitting behind her son Richard. Her husband's team, they were up 16 at one point.
Nice
That's
hands.
a block. Aaron Scott got it.
Boy, a real plus for St. John's that trip, because that was not a good sequence for them.
Just the third St. John's three. Washington glides. It was tipped. It will stay with New Mexico after we catch our breath.
Look at that lob pass into the post. He goes and gets it.
That was ready. They've got Arizona State still on the schedule. They put some challenging games together to get ready for the Mountain West, because the Mountain West is coming off a banner year.
Absolutely.
6 NCAA tournament teams. Phenomenal.
Just like a lot of teams, with this team in particular, I think will be much, much better 4 or 5 weeks from now.
Unsealed. He's been key in this comeback. He is a matchup problem.
He sure is, with his size, his length, 6'9", and his ability to kind of pull that ball off the floor and adjust his shot. Nice set there by Richard Patino and company. There's Richmond. Let's see if they keep him out of the paint.
Lewis with 10. To Ejiofor with 6. Ejiofor took the lane, got stripped and fouled. And St. John's in the bonus, so it'll be a 1-1.
Yeah, Dent took a swing at him out front. Richard Patino thought it was a travel. And then I believe it was Washington who got him.
As Nolan comes back in. The foul on Drew Washington, his third. In terms of foul trouble, nobody's at 4.
You see, Ejiofor's breathing pretty hard. This is where defensively you want to make sure you're blocking out here. You have to anticipate a miss.
5 of 6 at the line today. He got it to go. 6 of 7.
Still do the basics. Still fundamentally block out. Guys starting to tire a little bit. You forget to put your legs into a free throw.
Made them both.
Yeah, good work by him.
Was 3 of 8 entering this game from the line. He's 7 of 8 today.
Think Dent will have the ball a little bit.
I think that's a fair assessment. Another foul, though. Right now, you said it with the free throw line. Both teams having trouble defending without fouling.
Yeah, you just have to continue with these numbers of fouls that have been up on the board in the second half. You don't want to turn yourself into a jump shooting team right now. You want to be driving the ball as much as possible or posting it up.
And Drew Washington at the line, 2 for 2 in this ball game.
Yep.
63% on the season, and he couldn't hit the front end. There's the free throw battle. The big man makes both. It's a 7-point game. You're potentially looking at a 4 or 5 point swing. And the Lobos get a stop. Down to 10 again. They've gone deep into the timer, back-to-back trips.
Likes to drive it.
Richmond got the lane with the left hand.
Pretty adjustment, but you have to understand to keep him out of the paint. I know he can go left. You got to jump with players' strong hand, that right hand of Richmond's. That was a beautiful shift to his left hand, though, to finish that play off.
On seal, long.
He went down a bundle over on the right side.
Smith stopped.
Yeah, good no pass right there by Smith. Nothing in the middle of the floor.
Richmond with a bounce to Ejiofor.
Nice kick out.
Kick to the corner, Aaron Scott. He's short. Ejiofor with an offensive rebound. R.J. Lewis is way off. It'll stay with St. John's.
Joseph had no chance to rebound that ball because he's anticipating a block out. Then it comes down in a hurry. Almost like he was defending himself on the glass.
You said don't become a shooting team. They've gotten open looks, but St. John's is 3 for 15 from 3.
I think they'd make that adjustment and continue to drive it as best they can. Get it to the guys who can drive it, though, is key. Here's one who will drive it.
5 on the shot clock. Up 41-27 on the glass with 2. Richmond. Eyes in the back of his head. And 1 for Aaron Scott.
There's that ability to pass the basketball with 5 seconds or left. That's a sign of a team that's unselfish. And watch him come towards the half court. He's going to drift away a little bit and turn his shoulders at the end to drop it down low.
4th foul on Noland. Can't cash in for the three-point play, but it's an 11-point St. John's lead. That missed free throw on the front end. It's been 6 unanswered for the Red Storm. Amsil with the delivery. The finish. Corneli Jr. Joseph. Timeout. Richard Pitino.
Pretty good post.
And the Red Storm now with 5 in double figures. 4:47 to go in this ball game. Let's spin it ahead here. What's it come down to for New Mexico to keep climbing back in?
Yeah, I think they would love to get a little double team action on one of the guards and try to rotate and get a quick steal. Remember, Richard Pitino wanted one of those touchdown calls. He'd love to get a full court breakout if he could on a turnover.
Scott gave it thought. A wide open Davon Smith.
Nice decision. Once again, Rick Pitino's team taking their time, being unselfish, getting some pretty good looks in the last minute or two.
Amsil, the answer.
So now instead of fouls, we're going to pick up the pace a little bit, which is fun at the end of the game.
75-66. Both teams in the bonus. Johnny's with 1 timeout. New Mexico with 2. The possession arrow is with the Lobos. Under 4 left. Here's Richmond. Pulls up. Offensive board to Ejiofor. Lewis on the back down. Got his man in the air.
Well, it was the positioning of his body also. Not only grazing, but bumping the defender first, which then allows separation, and then you can go to work to get your shot off. Big-time bucket right there in traffic.
Nolan lost it. Richmond trying to grab it.
Got to get to the floor.
Richmond to the deck. We got a foul. It's a foul on Richmond.
Yep.
Rick Pitino at half court.
Scoop it up the first time, got away from him, and then he realized he was in no man's land.
Last 1 and 1 here at the line in this game with St. John's coming their 19th foul. Wow. And Nolan cannot hit it. New Mexico's woes at the line. They're 7 for 16 in this game.
Let's see how St. John's handles this possession, half-court possession, with a big lead. Looks like they're posting up for Richmond. He couldn't get it to him first.
Ejiofor with 10. Into the hands of Richmond with 7. Kadari Richmond with 4. Davon Smith is long. Ejiofor with the offensive rebound. St. John's 20th offensive rebound.
I think he just slipped on that. Looked like maybe his own teammate may have hit him. big defensive possession for New Mexico right here. Can't give up more second chance points.
Clock at 5. Down to 3. Ejiofor has to put up a prayer. It's an air ball. It's a shot clock violation.
And Rick Pitino just clapping on the sidelines. That was, I think Rick would just say that was out of sorts, that one. That half-court possession.
It points to the question that he told us about. He wants to know who's going to step up late in games. Both teams in the double bonus. New Mexico with 2 timeouts. St. John's with 1. The possession arrow is with the Lobos. Time becoming a factor. Dent knocks it down.
Yeah, that's a big one. Good decision, too. It was Nolan with that little ball fake on the right side. Defensively, you're out of position, and somebody else has to help, and they leave Dent wide open.
Gets him within 8. 2 on the clock.
Whoa, that was almost a Rick Pitino just then.
Lewis with 6, disjointed here again. Lewis with 4, they brought a double, and he just muscled his way.
Boy, that was a squeeze shot right there. Look at this look, got to catch it and go.
Junior Joseph, off the heel, rebound for Nolan. Washington attacking, cannot hit. Bodies to the deck again. Possession arrow.
Timeout.
It's a timeout instead.
That was Smith who called that timeout, by the way, on the floor.
You said it, Jim. Because if it had been a jump ball, it was staying with the Lobos.
Yep.
In his second year with the program, he's just taken off. And 7 assists is a career high for R.J. Lewis. All right, what's your thought here?
Well, New Mexico's in a spot where you don't want to foul yet, but you want to take every chance you can to try to come up with a steal, a deflection, a double team.
Smith. Ross is the timeline.
Yeah, so you see the little close there, little double teams out front. You just kind of play erratic, heady defense, taking your gambles, and hope you get a stop.
Shot clock at 10. Kadari Richmond. Dagger. And 1.
And where did they end up going to the basket? Lewis first, Richmond second.
A Brooklyn kid under the bright lights of MSG. Coming across the river from Seton Hall to St. John's. Can't convert the three-point play, and that is a tough foul on Ejiofor.
Yeah, you just don't want that one. You just don't want that. I mean, it's a 12-point game right now, but if it's a 6-point game, that's really problems for you if you do that. So you got to learn from that mistake.
So we'll send Nelly Junior Joseph back to the line.
So if he makes some free throws here, it allows them to reset with their defense.
Now this has just been a nightmare day at the free throw line for New Mexico. He's 0 for 5 from the line. Typically, Nelly is a 70% free throw shooter, but here's the thing. It's a 12-point game, Jim. New Mexico is 7 for 17 at the free throw line. 7 for 18. A brutal day at the stripe. And not that much better for the Red Storm either, but they've got the dozen-point advantage here with 1:07 left.
Yeah, let's see if they're going to foul or not. Yep.
Not much of a choice if you're going to stay alive at this point.
Yeah, if you don't get that quick, the quick turnover there, stretch it out a little bit for another 1 or 2 possessions. He works, doesn't he, on the sideline?
Oh, my.
Not to say that his son doesn't, but
72 years of age, Rick Pitino, his son Richard at 42. Richard said, what I've learned the most from my dad is how much you learn to hate to lose.
Yep.
You just hate that feeling. And that's the work ethic that Rick has built. And it's produced the likes of Mick Cronin and Kevin Willard. So many great coaches on the Pitino tree. cannot connect. The rebound to Lewis. And Lewis is fouled.
I think Richard Pitino is trying to call them off just then, too.
You bet. Now listen to this crowd.
I think this crowd in St. John's University is starting to think, maybe still early, but maybe we might just have something here in the early going.
Rick Pitino may know a thing as Washington fouls out with 9 points. May know a thing or two about year 2 leaps with programs.
Yeah, exactly. And this is an interesting array of talent that he has. And as he touched on before the game, he likes the fact that he has a bunch of interchangeable parts, that defensively they can switch. Pretty active, getting their 84 points on the board today.
Biggest test of the season thus far, though, coming after today, Thursday. Number 12 Baylor in the Baha Mar Hoops Classic, Thursday night in the Bahamas. And then either Tennessee or Virginia for the Red Storm.
Yep. Richard Pitino backing it off right now.
New Mexico will meet Grambling on Thursday night. That's when they're next in action. They had a really nice showing, though, today with the Lobos. This final score doesn't even indicate it.
No, I agree with it. They make, you touched on it a second ago, the free throw shooting. I think the lack of free throw shooting and the offensive glass for St. John's probably were the two most important things for the St. John's win. They put
final seconds here.
Good overall effort. Rick Pitino has to be happy.
New Mexico cut it to 4. St. John's finished on an 18-10 run. In the Pitino family, Father's Day comes twice this year.
There you go.